All right. So hello, and thank you for attending. This is the fourth and final Lunch and Learn in the series. It is Q&A to choose the way. So most of you are probably going to be able to do my agenda today if you have attended or watched these. But basically what it is we're going to go over the same kinds of things that we've gone over before, but today is a little bit different, as in we are going to talk about who's Donna Tem and DTAS. We're going to answer clarifying questions, and hopefully that will take care of the WIFM, what's in it for me and what's in it for you, meaning that. And then we'll take next steps. So where it's the last one, we'll go as quickly as we can. If there are any questions, just raise your hand and I'm happy to stop and take your questions. I got some of my frequently asked questions together just in case people were just going to show up and listen and sort of stay behind the scenes. So I do have questions, but if any come up for you, go ahead and raise your hand. If there's anything that comes up as well that you want to know more about, as soon as I get through everything, let me know and I will clarify anything that you have. All right. So let's get started. So again, who is Donna Tem? If you have listened to these before, you know that I am an educator turned business owner. Celebrated 2 decades in 2021, helping others with alternative therapies. And in 2024, we'll celebrate 2 decades of helping people with alternative solutions. So I went from just therapies and alternative means to really logical, scientifically based stuff as well. So I am published author of a personal memoir, and it is my story of abuse as a child, called You're Only as Sick as Your Secrets, and also a contributing author to a compilation series. I am the founder of 2 programs that I have used with clients, both personal, professional, business, individual groups throughout the years, and now offer those as certifications and licensing opportunities for individuals to also build revenue. So ask me about that if you're interested. As we talked about in other Lunch and Learns, basically what came about was trauma. I noticed there was a whole piece around trauma that people were coming to, and trauma can mean a lot of different things. They were coming to me and saying, I've got stress, that's trauma. I've had an accident, that's trauma. There's some grief, there's shock, loss, death, whatever it may be, abuse, all of those things were trauma. And what was happening was it was creating these obstacles in people's lives where there were limiting beliefs. And so they were then bringing in the trauma as them, like they were the trauma. And that is so not the truth. They are not the trauma. They are what the person who has experienced the trauma. So then I started adding stepping stones, like how do we get these people beyond this and on to the next piece of their life that they really want to live? And that's when the 3 pieces had come into place, as we talked about in the very first one, Fundamental Mastery, which is that logical 7-step process. And we'll talk about frequently asked questions. I think there's 2 of them that I have in mind. And then we went into You're Only as Sick as Your Secrets and the abuse awareness resources that are now from there. And I have some hopefully really helpful information about that. And also the Donna Tem energy rebalancing method, which is more energetically based. And so I have some frequent questions about that as well. So let's move on to the Q&A. But before we begin, as you know, I always ask people to reflect and to see what it is that they have in mind in order to begin to really put themselves into what we're going to be talking about so that it can be really pertinent to them. So before we begin, ask yourself this: what has been happening in my life that I'm looking to resolve? How long has this been an issue for me? What is the reason that I chose to attend today? What are you looking to get out of this? What exactly caught my interest enough to make me want to know more? And what am I willing to at least consider doing as a next step? So think about all those things as we move forward so that even if my frequently asked questions don't really hit the mark for you, then you'll know what you want to ask after. So again, we're going back to the first week's Lunch and Learn, where we were doing the fundamental mastery, that 7-step logical process. And this is one of the most common questions I get from people is, it seems like every part of my life or my business is in turmoil or just stuck. Where do I even begin? And so typically, as we said, it works with really getting to the core issue in a logical way. So sometimes it looks like there's so much going on and everything's wrong, but with a bit of reflection, we can find our targeted area of priority, as we talked about in a past one, where we use a balance wheel and we come up with 8 different sectors in either the business balance wheel that we're showing, or the life balance wheel, or the nutrition balance wheel, whatever it may be. And then we really go back and assess and say, okay, here's the thing. It looks like there are 4 areas of your least satisfaction once you completed this tap wheel. And most of the time, people will see that there's a connection. And when we start to work on one and we start to employ the SASSY process, the 7 steps, they start to see where, okay, it's not such a mess. It's just, I needed to find a starting point and the core issue that was then impacting all these others. So really, when you say, I don't know where to begin, we begin with a tap wheel. The next question that I have about the fundamental mastery program that often comes up is, everything feels out of my control. So first of all, everything feels like it's in turmoil. And then they say, and I can't do anything about it. And so then they always say, you know, before I put all this effort, does it matter? Like, does it even matter if I try to do something? And I absolutely, yes. The ripple effect. So what we put out there, the things we think, the way we behave, our actions, they will go out and eventually be received by someone or some situation that is then going to cause a reaction that comes back to us. And so if we start to think about that ripple effect that we're beginning, it's like somebody else can create a ripple effect with their behavior, their actions, their thoughts. And by the time it gets to you, it creates a reaction within you that sends back something to them, whether it's your words, your thoughts, or your behaviors. So that's really empowering, because when we really look deeper and see, wait a minute, what am I putting out there? How's it being received and how's it being returned? That's empowering. So yes, you do have control and it does matter. But going a bit further into that is we look more into your approach to how you deal and look at things. And there's so many things we've talked about, lesson and lesion and all that good stuff as well. But I really want to look at pure versus face approach. And so when you look at it, pure is defined as like containing nothing inappropriate or unnecessary. It just is what it is. And face can be defined as like the cover of something or a surface of something that's actually a different material. So, you know, we say we put on our game face if we're going out and about. We say we're, you know, kind of putting that face on for whatever it is the moment needs from us. So it really matters whether we're coming from a pure or a face approach. And when we look a little bit different, you know, deeply, and you know, I love these acronyms, but we've got the pure and we've got the face, and they each mean something. So when you're coming from a pure approach, you're coming from a place of power. When you're coming from a face approach, instead of being in your power, you're coming from fear. And so those are 2 very different things. If you've ever met someone who, you know, you've met and you're working on something together and you're discussing something and they're coming from a place of power or being empowered, it looks very differently and feels very differently than working with someone who's coming from a place of fear. So then we move on to the next one, which is you're in your power and you also come from a place of understanding. If you come from a face approach, you're looking at things as it's all or nothing. It's this way or it's that way. I don't want to understand what's going on, this or that. Pick it, right? Understanding is more about, okay, let's look deeper. Let's figure out what's going on and build an understanding, because sometimes we misinterpret things. Going back to the pure, The R is respect. So when you have respect for others, you're going to try to understand. You're going to try and get to the root of what is really, really going on and give them the respect that they are hopefully going to give back to you. If you are coming from a face approach and you're fearful and it's like, I've got to control this, all or nothing, that's exactly what the C is control. You're trying to keep everything in control. And that's received very different than giving someone respect. Going back to the pure expectations, you have expectations for yourself, for others, for situations, whatever it may be, that are appropriate. However, when you're coming from a face approach, you're really enabling sometimes behaviors, either in yourself or others, that aren't desirable. So those are two different ways that you can see, all right, everything feels out of my control, but what's my approach to it? How am I coming to each of these situations, and how can I change that? So hopefully that's clear for you. And it just gives you that idea that, yes, I do have power. I do have empowerment and I have some control. So basically, fundamental mastery can help you with all of this just from these simple concepts and more. All right, so now we're moving on to week 2, which was You're Only as Sick as Your Secrets. And basically, those are the abuse awareness resources. This is a question that I can't tell you the number of times I hear it. And it's, I have concerns that someone is experiencing abuse, but I don't know for certain. And I don't want to create a problem. If there is something that is just, it's normal and there's nothing beyond normal going on, and yet I don't want to let it go. And if there is something, I also don't want to create a bigger deal and possibly put this person who's being abused already into a more dangerous situation. All really good points. However, let's look a little bit more. And we talked about this in the Lunch and Learn about the abuse resources. So, it's so important that intervention takes place at the right time in the right way, and it can have this incredible positive impact. And it's important that it happen. Coming from a place of fear isn't going to help. Although we understand why people come from a place of fear, it's not really going to help. It needs to be more of an empowerment that you come from. And the way you get empowered is to really be knowledgeable and have this awareness around the key factors. And that's going to make a huge difference. But always, always remember that you can make a difference in someone's life. And sometimes you're like, oh, I have to do it yesterday. It's okay. Just do it to the best of your ability with knowledge, and that will make a difference. One of the things that I talk about is in my personal memoir. When I was writing it, I really wanted to be sure that I was giving people signs that they could look for through my story. And I was also giving people resolutions and ways to help that they could look for in my story. So I just want to talk really quickly about that in the next couple of slides. And it's just through my poem, Through the Eyes of the Inner Child, that actually is at the very beginning of my book. And so I'm going to be reading this. And as I do, this is going to be answering a lot of the, how would I know? What do I look for? What are some signs? And I'll underline it. And at the end, I want you to really look and see like how many things are underlined in this one small area that are really going to give you an idea of what to look for. Now, it doesn't mean that if you see these things, oh my goodness, somebody's being abused. It's not a guarantee, but these are signs to help you dig deeper. All right. So I was the youngest of many nieces, yet it was my life he tried to shatter to pieces. I'd made him angry that Christmas night. So my fault. So if you hear somebody saying it was my fault, I upset him. That's one. I'd had it coming because I wasn't nice. What happened later, this 4-year-old could not comprehend. I only knew I could not tell even my closest friend. So now it's the clamming up. It's the not telling. And so it went day after day. I worked hard not to give that secret away, and the secrets begin. I'd lie awake all night so I'd see and hear. Each and every morning, I'd wake up feeling, going to bed became my biggest fear. So that was something I went through. I had this little issue where suddenly bedtime was a real big bugger for me. I'd lay awake all night so I'd see and hear. Each and every morning, I'd wake up feeling sick. She's just nervous about school, just another trick. Out the door I'd go with a pasted smile, with dread in my body all the while. It's amazing how your mind knows how to protect and defend. It throws you into a whimsical world of pretend. Now, a lot of kids do pretend. But does it get to a point where it feels not right or unhealthy? And so for the next 28 years, memories faded, but left my fears. Dis-ease crept into every moment of all my days. Eventually, it became known as just another phase. I became this person I'd never known. Who I really was could never be shown. Of my thoughts and actions, I felt such shame. It was always on others that I placed the blame. So it's not that I would say it's your fault that you did this, but it was always something like, oh, I was out late with so-and-so, and so I'm just tired. There's nothing wrong. I'm just tired. And try as I might not to cause any commotions, it was taking a toll on all my emotions. Eventually, it led to many types of illness, when ironically, I strove for physical wellness. And soon everyday routines became overwhelming tasks. It was then I began having panic attacks. It was evident to me I was going crazy. To others, it may have looked as though I was lazy. Even being in my home made me so tense. What was happening just didn't make sense. I scolded myself to deal with my fear, but try as I might, symptoms would reappear. I began living my life in a sort of protective bubble. Before I realized it, my marriage was in trouble. So if you look at this before I go to the next slide, look at those flashing underlines. That's a lot of signs. Now, one of them, maybe not a big deal. Two of them, maybe not a big deal. As you start to see 3 and 4 and 5, and it's over and over, and you see a real personality change, that's something, again, might not be, but dig deeper. So let's go to the next one, because this is one of the things, like people say, how can I help? What can I do? And if you have any suspicions, don't dismiss them. So, so important. And in this next part, I really want to show you the things that I ended up doing and getting for help. Now, the other piece I want to back up a little bit is get them professional help. If you think, have a conversation first and just say, I noticed something different, very non-judgmental, very non-threatening, but I noticed something different. And I just wanted to make sure that things were okay. And, sometimes even tough nuts, will crack. And so keep that in mind. And then once they do, then you can sort of be that voice of reason for them. So this is where I get into the things that I did do that helped me. And I know now help was sent from God above through the prompting of an earth angel, my sister I love. So began my counseling, with which I'm not through, yet I'm learning how to show my true self to you. Through EMDR, I was able to remember the dreadful details of that initial act in December. I learned at 33, my actions were not the cause. He was a man with a problem and many flaws. I'm happy to say I don't have to please everyone. That's a biggie for anyone who has had any abuse. They feel like they've got to please everyone. And so we can be that reminder, like, it's okay. You can be you can have your own thoughts and your opinions, even if it makes someone upset. And now I'm certain I wasn't the cause of what he had done. Although this journey is a difficult one, I am strong and will survive when all is said and done. And they need to hear that often. So if you're feeling at your wit's end and parts of the story sound familiar, my friend, please don't hesitate or think twice. Get yourself some caring expert advice. No matter how untrue you may think it seems, we all have the potential to live up to our dreams. So look at those flashes as well. These are just minor things that you can do, sometimes reminders, or sometimes just even giving them ideas and they don't even know that are available to them. So move on to the third, and I know I'm going quickly, but I want to make sure that I also get other questions in for anybody who has them. So the third week was about Dawn and Tem energy rebalancing method. And this one is more, if you remember, it's more about releasing the trauma and the triggers held within your mind and body. And so this is about a lot of times just really listening to your body, listening to that gut, listening to those hunches. And so this is such a great question whether I'm working with someone on developing their intuitive abilities or whether I'm working with someone who is working on core issue stuff and sort of tapping into their own body and mind. So this is how do I know I'm receiving intuitive information and it's just not my logical mind? Because a lot of times people will say, I feel like it's this, but I don't know, because it might just be my mind thinking that. And that's, again, really good points. So let's look at a little bit that may help you. Guidance or thoughts that come out of nowhere is often just this intuitive. And I don't say to act on it right away. I'm saying discern, like think about it. So just be like, wow, like I don't even know that word. That word just came to me. I'm going to look it up and see what it means and if it's appropriate for this situation. Or I'm really feeling like I need to go visit so and so. Not sure why, but discern. Should I go? Is it a good time to go? Those kinds of things, but don't just dismiss it. You get a gut feeling or you find yourself taking action on it. I remember years ago, I was selling my house and it was like, you know what? I do not want to move right now. I am not selling my house right now. And then suddenly I'm calling a realtor and I'm thinking, okay, I just said I didn't want to move, but it was a gut feeling that I had to act on. Synchronicities or unrelated events occurring around the same topic. So you have this conversation, you just happen to mention you're having an issue with A, and then you go off and you hear something or you see something that kind of answers that question about A. And it's like these little synchronicities that you think, well, geez, I didn't talk to that person. I was talking to that person about it, and here it's coming up again. A chance meeting with someone who can help you with something that you might be struggling with. Signs like feathers. Some people find feathers all over the place. Some people find coins. There's animals speak. So you see these animals and you like, oh my, why have I seen 27 turkeys in the past 3 days? And you look up what the turkeys can represent. There's smells. Sometimes people will smell things like, wow, it smells like somebody's been smoking in my car and I'm not a smoker. And then you're thinking, okay, suddenly your uncle comes to mind who did smoke, and, songs that come on just at the right time. Dreams can also really help you with that intuitive guidance. Flickering lights, a lot of times, if you know anything about spirituality and the spirit world, that's sort of how they can communicate. True spiritual communication will often have some form of validation. So sometimes you don't get your answer right away. If you wait and you're aware and you look, if it's meant to be, you will see some sort of sign. I do ask people sometimes to keep an intuition journal because some of these gut feelings and synchronistic events that happen will actually validate your hunches. And once you have that validation, you'll be like, okay, I'm starting to trust myself a little bit more. When my gut says this, I should listen because in the past, this is, what happened. Again, with discernment. So is it a good idea? Not a good idea. So hopefully that's helpful. So I'm just going to do this whole piece about staying connected. I tried to be quick today. We've got about 5 minutes left to go, 6 minutes left to go. And as you know, you can stay connected with me. We can do a intro meeting if you want to know more, and you can schedule it on my Calendly if you want. You can sign up for my newsletter. My different ways of contacting me are on my website or my DTAS Facebook group or on LinkedIn. And so as a thank you for attending, I know how I am. I always like to sort of give some little gift to those of you who have attended in person. And so my gift to you is right down here at the bottom, and it's a DTAS LLC offerings assessment. So, sometimes people will come in and they're open to energy and they're very logically based as well. And I don't know where to start. Or if they are certified or licensed in my programs, they can have this survey, assessments survey, and what they can do is use it with whoever's coming in to know what's the best starting point. Of these more logically based for fundamental mastery, or are they more energetically based? So I will actually put this in the chat if you are interested in it. Or you can send me an email and say, I didn't get it in the chat, and I can send you the link to that. It's an online one, so it's a Google form. And when you are finished with it, you can actually send me your results and I will analyze them and tell you where you came out and where you fall and what a good beginning might be for you. So there is that. And so I am going to now stop my share. And I am going to go back to anyone who is interested, wants to ask a question, anything that you have that maybe I didn't answer or you want clarification on. We have some time for that. It's 12:31. We got 4 minutes and I'm happy to stay even longer. So if anyone has a question, just unmute yourself and ask away and I'll do my best to answer them. And if not, then you get out of here early.
Are you doing any in-person sessions or are you still virtual?
Right now, I am still virtual. I actually got rid of my office and was looking to get another office in Dover, but things have kind of transpired and there may be a move in my near future. And so if there is, it will just be for anybody, not close to where I am, then it'll probably just continue to be the virtual. Good
To
question.
move out of the area, or can you
Yeah.
not tell that?
Oh, no, I can tell. Absolutely. I'm looking at the South Carolina area. Yes.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
very ironic because I'm planning a trip there. Just
Oh, no.
started yesterday.
Oh my gosh, what area?
Well, my sister lives in North Augusta, South Carolina,
Okay. All
and
right.
I
And
was thinking about going to visit her.
that's so funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I'm looking at the Greenville area because that's where my son just moved. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So I held out. He moved in November and I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And then I was like, wait a minute. I'm the one that wanted to move first to warmer weather. And now everyone's
Exactly.
on and I'm still here in the cold weather.
That's our plan in 3 years.
Oh, nice. Good for
Yeah.
you. To the South Carolina area?
Either the Carolinas or Florida. We haven't made a decision, but we've been
Okay.
talking about it.
Yes. Yeah. Good for you. I'll tell you, it's like I've always been a warm weather gal. But there were things here that just were my priorities. And then I woke up one day and went, wait a minute, all my priorities left me. And here I am.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So well, maybe we'll end up in the same area. We can do in person then.
Perfect. I'll fly down just to see you.
All right, I'll let you know if I have a place there then. Yeah. There's a lot of big shifts and even as you can see, a lot of big shifts in my Donatem Alternative Solutions and the things that I offer and all that good stuff. So this is sort of just a journey for me as well. I'm keeping what I got and then incorporating new and just seeing what people need. And that's basically been my MO since I opened my doors in 2004 is just to say, what do people need? And let's see if I can, fill that need for them. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
I've seen you through all the changes.
I know you have. I know. And you've been right there with me, following me along from one place to the next.
Yeah. Can't get rid of me.
I don't want to. That's a good thing. I appreciate it. Absolutely. So I'll keep you posted. I'll definitely. And once I know, what's going on with me, then I will be sending out information to people and updating them and all that stuff. But I just didn't want to, do anything major when I really honestly, my house isn't on the market. I got a market analysis and I did all of that good stuff. So the plans are in place, but I don't even have a home there either. So it's just kind of looking forward to where's it going to take me? Just another adventure for the next chapter.
Exciting.
It is exciting. It really is. Yeah. So thank you for that. But I will keep you posted. I promise. All right. Any other questions? I know we're a little over, and that's okay. If you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. So if there are no more questions, I'll wait for another few seconds so that I don't cut anybody off. But if you do, then go right ahead and unmute your.
I don't want to hog all the time in case anyone else has a question, but I had a very interesting dream last night.
Ooh, all right.
I was actually doing Reiki in my sleep, in my dream, on trying to clear energy in a property.
Really?
And it was like, yeah, I woke up exhausted from the dream, but
Oh, absolutely.
and
So
so
there is, so I mean, because you've been with me forever, but for those of you who don't know, I work with real estate agents. Well, I work with anybody who wants their home, business, or land cleared. I do HB clearings, and so that's interesting that you had that dream. And so what was your gut feeling? Like what do you feel like it's trying to tell you?
well, it was like I honestly don't know. I wish I knew. My
What I'm
first gut
wondering.
feeling was if someone was having trouble selling a house.
Yeah.
It's not me, but I'm like, I think someone I know is like has a house that needs to be cleared.
Yep,
So
exactly. Exactly. And the other thing too, is if you do, if you know who it is or you find out who it is, give them the information, whether it's me or somebody else that does clearings, it doesn't matter. But give them the information because that's what really has helped in the past with people is clearing their homes of whatever residual energies is there and energetic imprints and that kind of thing. So it really helps a lot. And even, realtors who call me and say, look, I cannot sell this house, or they'll go, they'll go into a particular house and they'll say, I get the heebie-jeebies
oh, I
every.
just got it before you said that. I got chills. I've been in a few of those houses.
Yeah. And so a lot of times, if you're feeling it, buyers are feeling it. And so that's when they'll call me in and say, hey, can you clear this? Because we really need to sell this, or, that type of thing. Very funny. I just had a conversation with someone last night, and he owns a 1800s house. And he said, oh, there's this constant activity going on, so he was kind of talking a little bit about that as well.
Synchronicities, right?
There you go. All right. There you go. Absolutely. So yeah, and if you want to talk to me more about that too, feel free to reach out or give whoever my information. And I do, if people reach out, I do remote check-ins if they need me to, or just have conversations with them to see if it's even something that needs to be taken care of. But when you said you were exhausted, it's true. I mean, the process can be really tiring if you aren't clearing it in the right way with the right protection and that kind of thing. It can
I was doing it in my sleep, so
I know. Well,
actually, I still remembered to call on Archangel Michael in my sleep.
I was just gonna say, I mean, you're fortunate because if you're sleeping, you clearly got that, that protection and all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
I was still calling on him.
I love it. That's a great story. Thanks for sharing that.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna head out now. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'll keep you posted.
All right, bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right. Anybody else with any questions out there? All right. And if not, then I will end this, and I'll do that. There we go. And then I'll thank you for attending. Oh, you know what I did not do? Let me see here. I didn't put in the chat. I'll tell you what, I will look at the transcript of who showed up today, and I will put it in the chat. I will not put it in the chat. I will send it to you, or even better, I will put it on the website, and I'll put the link to where you can take the assessment. All right. So thank you so much. Again, I so appreciate anybody who showed up today. And this will be on my website. So if you missed it and you're interested, or you heard something and you need to rewatch it, that's where you can find it. All right. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.